Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be dealing with the foundation plan. And in my opinion, it's one of the easier plans to develop because it's derived from the floor plan, which we already did in a previous video. Right off the bat, let me just explain a little bit about the foundation and what it is if you don't already know. The foundation is what we call a substructure that is beneath the ground level. Um, so the building can be divided into two parts, the part above ground and then the part beneath the ground level. The part above the ground is called the superstructure. That's your walls, your windows, your roof, all of these things. And then the part that is beneath the ground level is what we call the substructure, and that is our foundation, which is comprised of our foundation wall and our footing and all of the reinforcements, the steel that is placed within them. All right, so if I can just look to a quick illustration, we can see here kind of a cross section of uh, foundation. This is a strip foundation, and the strip foundation essentially is a type of foundation that runs a continuous strip of concrete underneath all of the walls of your house. So in the floor plan, we can see that we have walls that run here, and everywhere, bathroom, bedrooms. Underneath each of these walls, there's going to be a wall, our what is called our foundation wall, and that's this wall. So underneath the wall of your house, which is going to be above here, you're going to see there's going to be a floor, and then beneath that is going to be the foundation wall. And then underneath that foundation wall, you're going to see um, a footing, what we call a footing, which is a reinforced strip of concrete that runs underneath all of the foundation walls that run underneath all of the walls of the building. So I hope that was clear. Um, the point of the purpose of the foundation is to distribute the weight of the building into the soil evenly. So all of our load-bearing walls, the walls of our house that carry weight, that bear weight, that weight has to go somewhere, and that weight goes into the ground, into the soil. So that's why we need um, this foundation wall that takes the weight of the walls above, and then we have the footing, which is beneath the foundation wall, that distributes it out into the soil. Typically, once we have the foundation wall like this, foundation wall and the footing, we would then fill all of this with compacted dirt. So all of this under here, the footing will be inside of a trench that is going to be buried up in dirt, and then we'll have this foundation wall sticking out, and then we even fill in here with compacted earth or dirt, and then on top of that we'll put our floor, and then on top of the floor you will see the walls of our house, which are these walls right here, and in those walls we'll have the windows and the doors, and on top of that the roof, and so on. So I hope that little explanation was useful. So let's go ahead and start to represent that in our drawing. So the first thing we want to do is to turn off all of the layers, um, except for the walls and the openings. I'm leaving on the openings because the openings is still part of our walls. It's just that um, for about 6 or 7 feet, so walls and openings for about 6 or 7 feet, there is a space here, but for um, for the remaining of the wall above the opening, there's still a wall there. Okay, so that's why I'm just leaving it here If you don't have an opening in your drawing, it's fine. So the next step is to make a copy of all of this. So I'm just going to highlight it, copy, specify the base point. I'm going to pick it up right here and let's bring it across um, right here, like so. Right, escape, and there we go. So um, I like to put everything on a different layer, so I'm actually going to create my foundation wall layer, foundation walls. I'm going to leave that the color white, just like my walls. I'm going to also leave it the same line weight as my walls, 0.30, and make sure the line type is continuous as it is here. I'm going to create a new layer and I'll call this one the footing, um, and then I'm going to change the color to cyan, the line type to hidden. If you don't already have hidden, just hit load and come down to scroll down to hidden, select it there, okay, and then you hit okay again. So now we see it's changed to hidden, and then the line weight of this should be a thinner line, so I'm going to put it to 0.20, maybe 0.15 would be better. We'll see. Right, so that's that. I'm just going to turn those layers on so when we start drawing we would actually see them. Otherwise we will draw and we would not see the layers, but it's going to be there, and then when we turn them on you'll see our lines all over the place. Okay, so first things first, I want to turn all of these lines into my foundation wall, right? Because remember what we're going to do, we're going to put this is the foundation drawing, so we're going to basically represent the walls underneath of these walls of our house. So these are the walls on top of, for the top section of our house that has the windows and doors and the roof goes on top of this. And this is going to represent the walls of the foundation that is underneath of all of that. Now, as I said, the foundation walls and footing need to run underneath all of our load bearing walls, all of the walls that carry load. Um, so what we're going to do is just join all of these up, all of these walls. There are no doors and openings in our foundation, in our strip foundation. So we're going to join them up by using the join tool. So I'm going to select the lines that I want to join, this one, that one, then I'm going to click J, enter, and that's going to join them. This one, that one, J, enter, um, this one, that one, J, enter, this one, that one, J, enter. Now, um, the foundation walls, as I said, we use 8-inch blocks. The walls for our house, I use, if you remember, I use 6-inch blocks, which is 150 millimeters. So um, we are going to have to make these blocks here um, from 150 into 200 millimeters, from 6 inches into 8-inch blocks. All right, I'm just noticing something in this drawing. These blocks for the outside and inside, they in this example, they are all supposed to be 150 millimeters. If I go and I measure it, I should see 150 millimeters. Yes, it's 150 millimeters, but this piece looks a bit wider, 175, right? I think, yeah, I should have attached this piece down here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move that, or maybe just delete it and redraw it. I will have to change that also in the floor plan, but let me just go to the foundation wall layer, line tool L, from this point bring it across to that point, and then I'll just delete these because we don't need any of these. in our foundation, like so. Right, so now we're going to just use the join tool, continue using the join tool and join up all of these lines. Yeah, and so, and so. All right, where else? I need to join here. And if you think you have a pretty good idea of the concept, just feel free to pause the video, do it, and then skip forward past um, all of this because it's basically just joining lines using the join tool so that all of these lines will be connected. Visually, it looks well, but what I like to do is to make sure that all of my lines are joined up. So we see that this is a piece right here. I want to join all of these together. J enter. So now it becomes one member, like so. All right, and let's see. This looks like a line. That looks like one line. Let me just select the whole thing and see if there's any lines, multiple lines. Yes, I can see these two, that one, and that one. These two need to join, right? So we just join them up by using the join tool again. Let's see if over here um, all of this looks fine. Let me just select it all again. All of this is fine, fine, fine. And the reason why I'm doing this right now is because when I do the next step, I don't have to offset 3 times, but you'll see in a second. Okay, so we've joined up all of our walls. Now these are 6-inch blocks, 150 millimeters, but our foundation walls really should be 200 millimeters or 8-inch blocks. So I need to offset this one. That means this one is 2 inches or 50 millimeters, about 50 millimeters um, short of what it should be. So what I'm going to do is offset 50 millimeters evenly um, from this line. So that means 25 on each side. So I'm going to use the offset tool, specify the distance, 25 millimeters, and I'm going to offset this one that way. And if you notice, this line is offset all the way around because I joined these lines before. So when I offset it, it offset the entire thing. I'm going to offset room by room. So this one on the inside, this one on the inside, that one on the inside, and this one on the inside. Um, so that's it. Just do it room by room so that you don't miss out anything. But you can do it whichever way is more efficient or convenient for you. We do the second bedroom over here. This one, that one, that one. Now the porch. This one, that one, that one. Now this one, that one. If I'm going too fast, please use pause button. It's one of the benefits of having a video instruct you. So that seems to be it. If we missed anything, we could always just add it in. Now we just need to clean this up by using the trim tool. If TR for the trim tool, enter. If you're using 2018, you might have to right click first or hit enter first before you can trim. But with 2022, I can just begin left clicking and trimming right away. So that I could easily do that one, but I'm going to do it one room at a time so that I don't confuse myself. I know, might be silly, but it works. So that's that, all 4 sides. Let's move on to the bathroom. This one, that one, this one, that one. Let me just do this one right away, the corridor. Um, the corridor, Commodore. So if you make a mistake, you can just hit the undo button. Um, Fix that. And this is one of the things I really like about the computer aided drawing. It makes drawings so much faster and make you so much more efficient. Like, because I can imagine, I mean, you can imagine doing all of this the traditional method, and you have to basically redraw the entire um, drawing again, all of the walls again, but with different with um, a different thickness wall, and it takes a lot of time. So with the computer aided drawing and AutoCAD, we just copied over something and we just made some modifications to it, and then we're good. So let's fix all of this up. Now this part takes a little bit of time, but I accidentally clicked the end, so let me just go back, undo, do that, do that. By the way, I just hit Control Z to undo that mistake. Let's check beneath here. That piece. Let's do this. Basically, we want all of the walls to join up with each other. Um, like so. I believe this one, right? And yeah, so it's much easier to keep track of where you are if you do it room by room rather than jumping all over the place. All right, so there we have it. Now, what we need to do now is just select these inside lines because this is our 150 millimeter or 6-inch blocks. Remember, for the foundation we're using 8-inch blocks. That's what we just drew on the outside of these. So we're going to have to delete these ones on the inside. So I'm going to just go around and select them, the inside lines. And we don't have to do it all at once. We could select some and delete them like so. But I like to select a good portion of the lines, a good number of the lines, and then delete them. I'm deleting all of these here. Good. And then we have this one, we have that one, we have this one. Let's delete it right away. I'll try to do it, try to practice what I preach and do it room by room. That one. I'll do these right here. Those. That one, that one. This one. This is one. That one. Yeah, so this is the boring part. Uh, Once you get a hang of it, once you understand what you're doing, you don't have to sit and watch all of this part of the video. You can skip forward through to the next section. All right, so I think we have deleted all of our um, 6-inch block lines. Now we are left with just the 8-inch block. So let's just double check that. The distance between there and there, just say 200, right? There it is, 200 millimeters. So now we have our foundation walls. We already put them on the foundation wall layer. Now what we want to do, and you would notice that even the porch has the foundation wall and footing is going to go underneath it. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to um, offset to show the footing. Now the footing, as I said, is 3 times the width of the foundation wall. So this is 200, so that means this must be 600. 2, 2, and 2. 3 times do it. 2, 4, 6. 600 millimeters or 2 feet, 24 inches. Um, so what we're going to do, same technique, offset these lines, and then we'll change it to the footing layer. So offset tool, this time, so we already have 200 millimeters for the foundation wall, and the footing needs to be 600, and the footing, we need to evenly um, offset the remaining. I believe it's right. It's 400. We're gonna offset the remaining 400 um, evenly, equally on both sides of the wall, so that the wall would sit directly in the center of the footing. So I use the offset tool, and then I'm going to use 200 as my distance. So I offset 200 on that side and then 200 on the inside, like so. So I'm going to do that room by room, right? That's first bedroom, bathroom, corridor, and the next bedroom, like so. Wow, that's loud. So I have some. All right, that's this second bedroom finish. We're doing the porch right there, there, the living room slash dining room area. It's an open concept, so those two rooms are going to be open to each other. Right, so now that we've done that, we just need to use the trim tool, TR, enter, and just trim away uh, these lines here. I'm going to do it room by room. Let me just do this one more time. So this one, that one, um, this one, that one. Just do the porch one time. I'm doing two rooms that are next to each other at the same time, just to speed things up a bit. Um, as you get more accustomed to doing this, it will look less confusing and you would be able to do a lot more. But I typically would do one room at a time so I don't confuse myself, because sometimes you end up jumping around doing this one, then that one, then that one, and down here, and then before you know it, you miss something, and then you spend a lot of time trying to see. I almost forgot this one. You spend a lot of time trying to find the ones that you missed, or going over the drawing a million times just because you just want to make sure. But if you do it in a very sequential and logical manner, um, you you can cut down some time, save yourself 15 minutes in the drawing. So there we have it. So we have the foundation walls, and then we have the footing, um, right? So that's foundation wall, and then the footing, the lines on the for the footing on the outside. That's what we're seeing there. So we just need to switch um, these footing lines, switch them to the footing layer that we created. So we're just gonna select them like so, select them like so, one room at a time, room by room. Make sure to select all four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and then we want to switch that to the um, footing layer like so. Now before you deselect them, we want to make sure that all of these, remember these are supposed to be hidden lines, So I'm going to right click now that they are already selected. I'm going to right click, go to properties, and then change the line type scale. Um, if you hover over to it, line type scale, change that to about a larger number, so maybe like 1500. Hit enter, and then it's going to show us the spacing between these sharp dash lines. Um, Otherwise, if you deselected, you would have to select them back again and then right click on them and change the properties. So another way you can do it, let's say you had this one done and the others were not done, you could use the match property tool. Let's say I change this one to let's change this one back to 500. So you can see it's really small. So what if I want to change all of these to match this one? I could use the match property, select the source, which is this one, and then select the destination, or in other words, select the lines that I want to match this property. So this one, if I click on it, you notice it matches the line type scale of the dashes. So anything I click on is going to take those properties, right? So I don't want that. I'm just going to undo all of that, like so. All right. So the hard part is done. So all we need to do right now is just dimension this thing, show as much information that is necessary for our builders to come in and um, lay the building out on the land properly. So in order to do that, um, well, we'll just use our dimensioning tools and so on. But before we do, let me just put in the hatch layer. Now we already have the hatch layer created. I'm going to use the same hatch layer for the foundation as well. So what I'll do, I'll switch to the hatch layer. I'll turn it on first, switch to the hatch layer, and I come across to hatch. Now, first thing first is to change the hatch pattern to this evenly spaced 45-degree diagonal line here. And then the next thing is to change the angle. Now you might see yours at 1. I already did this before, so mine was at 1500. So you want to change it to 1500 or so, a larger number. And the reason is, so for the same reason for the when we change the line type scale for the hidden lines, the lines are going to be too close together. So let's say I put it at 500 and then I come here, you notice how close these lines are together, right? So if I changed it to 1500, notice how far apart, enter, notice how far apart they are now, which is what I want. So I'm going to come over the drawing, zoom out enough so that you could see the entire area, and then put the cursor in between the blocks, and then the hatch lines are going to fill out everything, and you could just make a left click. Now before I do it, there's one thing I want to show you because people often run into this problem. You cannot zoom in like this and try to show the hatch line. If you do, AutoCAD is not going to fill it in. The reason is AutoCAD needs to see the entire area that is going to fill in all of these lines with. If you zoom in like so, AutoCAD can't see the other piece that's above here and that goes on there. So imagine AutoCAD is going to fill this area, right? It's going to fill this area, and then when you zoom out, AutoCAD is going to be like, wait a minute, there's some other area over here that I needed to fill, but you already filled only part of it. So to save confusion, you need to zoom out, hover over the area, and then just left click right in there, and you're good to go. So that's the hatch in. Now it's just a dimension there. Dimensioning is left to do. Now there are multiple ways to dimension your foundation, but just keep this principle in mind. You want to show enough measurements and details in your dimension so that whoever is building this house is going to know exactly uh, where they are going to dig the trenches to put these footings and foundation walls. If you if you could use multiple methods, a combination of methods, or you could choose the one I'm going to show you now, but it must show the builder how wide this footing is, how wide these foundation walls are, um, maybe the space, the distance in between these footings. You need to show all of that so that when they are digging the trenches, they will know exactly where the excavator is going to be digging. All right, so let's get started. I think I was clear enough to unlock on the dimension layer, and let's select the dimension layer. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dimension using the go to annotate using the linear dimension tool. And then first things first, I'm going to dimension from, I'm going to show the thickness of the footing. So from here, now I could put my mouse here and then get this guideline to show up and then click there. But I'm actually going to just click on the inside one. So we should see 600, 2 feet. That's the thickness of our footing. So I like to put my first row of dimensions 1200 millimeters away from the object. But if I just type 1200 millimeters, it's actually going to go closer because it's going to count 1200 millimeters from this point, from the inside one here, not this point. Okay, so I'm actually going to add the thickness, which is 600, onto the 1200, like so. 1800, hit enter, and then if I measure this, it should be around 1200 from this point to that point. It should be around, right, 1196, around 1200. Perfect. So now we're just going to use the continue tool and then go from the inside of the footing to the beginning of the next footing. So when they are laying out the building, they're going to be like, okay, so this footing is going here, and then the next one is going to go 4050 millimeters away from the first one, and that's going to give them all the information that they need to um, lay out the building properly on the land. So that's one there, and then the final one here, and then after that, now we're just going to do an overall distance like so, um, beyond it. So from this point to here, that's 1200. I want it to be 600 more, so that's 1800 now, like so. Now sometimes it happens if it puts it um, further than it should be. Let me just delete that and do it again. So linear dimension tool, click there, click to that point there, bring it out here. I'm carrying it farther, and then I type 1800 and click, and it comes back in to the distance, correct distance. All right, so I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. Once you get the principle, go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and do it, or skip forward to the next part. So let me just go ahead and do this. So 1800, and then continue my dimensioning, like so, 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 and then give the overall distance from here to there, bring it out 1800 millimeters, like so. And yeah, we're just gonna do it all the way around from here, there, and bring this out 1800 from this point. That's why. And then just go continue the dimensioning. We're gonna chain. It's what we call chain dimensioning. All right. so. Then one overall distance, like so. 1800 linear. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the video, feel free to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe on the video if you're enjoying the content, and if you want to get a notification whenever I upload new videos or more content, you can hit the bell notification and you would receive that notification whenever I upload new videos. I really did not intend to, you know, put videos on the internet. 1800. I really didn't intend to put videos on the internet because, but I just figured it was easier to get this information to my students um, this way. Okay, so we're basically done with the dimensioning, the major portion of the dimensioning. Now remember, the purpose of the dimensioning is to let the builders know, the dimensions, the measurements of everything, where things are located, how long things are, the distance between different elements, etc. Um, Now there are some things in this drawing, this part in particular, that we cannot tell from the external measurement. So you will have to put some internal measurements to um, do to complete this drawing to show enough information. So we're going to go to the linear measurement again. I'm going to put it on the end here, like so, right there. This one here to here, like so. And I'm actually going to put another one right here. Now, after I'm finished this, I'll just explain something in a second. Because there, as I mentioned earlier, there are multiple ways that you can dimension, the foundation plan. Um, right. So this information now tells the builder, you know, where they're gonna dig this trench, because these footings are going to be placed in the ground. Dig out the trench, dig out the dirt, then we put the formwork, and then we pour the concrete to create the footing inside of that, obviously with reinforced um, steel and everything. But now that we put this measurement, they would know, oh, okay, well, this footing is 1950 away from this footing over here. So we need to just put in as much information as possible to tell our builders where everything goes. All right, so you can leave it like this in terms of the dimensioning. We still have to put in a few things and then it will be finished. But the other ways that we can dimension, other things that we can add to the dimensioning of our foundation, um, or the ways that we can do it, we can actually dimension the entire thing like how we did this one. So we can show um, the distances on the inside like so, right? We can show the distances on the inside like so. But you won't do both of them because this is already shown from this. You notice it's the same 3150. This one is already shown here. So you notice it's the same thing. We don't need to put them inside and outside. They're showing the same thing. But if you use this one that shows the inside, you would need to probably put the overall measurement still on the outside, and then you would need to show, and I'm going to show you this right now. you would use the leader line. So let me just show you to set up the leader lines very quickly. Come down to this annotation, click on the third one, the third icon, click modify, um, the leader format tab, change the arrow size to about 100. I'm gonna put it to 150. um, the break size, I'm leaving it at 200. The leader structure, leave it with 2 here, leave the others as it is. And the content, it already has the text height um, at 150 for what we set up in our Forge drawing. So I'm just going to hit OK, set current, close. So basically what the leaders do, leader lines do, they're basically arrows that point to something and they tell you what it is. They tell you what it is, they tell you the dimensions of it, they tell you um, more details, maybe it about the if it's reinforced concrete, what type of reinforcement is it, what quarter 1 inch, quarter inch corrugated steel and all of this kind of stuff. It can explain all of that information in a leader. So if you're using this method where you dimension the inside of the footing to show you the distance in between, you can also use leaders like so. I'll click on this leader tool and I'm going to point to one of these footings, and then I'm going to state the details of the footing. So we know the footing is 600 millimeters. 600 millimeters. What is it? Continuous strip footing, like so. A 600 millimeter, or maybe just 600 millimeter wide continuous footing, like so, right? So I can add as much information here as I think is necessary for them to know. But in terms of dimensioning, I'm just telling them this is 600. So rather than showing the measurement 600 here, this arrow pointing to the footing is saying it is 600. So I can use these internal dimensioning in conjunction with the leaders to give the same information that all of this gives. For the foundation wall, however, if you want to show the thickness of the foundation wall, we can use leader lines also. So I'm going to use another one to point to that um, foundation wall, and I'm going to put 200 millimeter foundation wall, like so. Cool. Yeah. So this is really going to give the builder as much information as he needs to accurately lay out the building. And finally, this is just one thing I like to put in. It's a couple more things. Turn back on the text layer, and then I'll switch to the text layer. And we use a single line text. I'm going to type. Click right in there, and then specify the rotation angle. Leave it at 0 degrees. That means you're going to be typing from left to right. Make sure we're typing in all caps, and I'm going to put compact fill. Enter twice. Then I'm going to just copy this around. So basically all this means, as I mentioned, is that when I showed you the little illustration on the little visual, all this means is that we're filling this area with dirt, right? This inside of here, we're going to fill it with dirt, compacted dirt. Just to make this one a little bit easier on the space, I'm going to just right. So all of this, I would need another one of this over here. So I'm going to copy this and place it in there, like so. All right, so we have the dimensions I'm gonna move these because we don't need these for this particular drawing unless you choose to do it that way. So we have the 200 millimeter foundation wall, that's what it's pointing to here, and then we know that this is pointing to the 600 millimeter wide continuous footing, and then we know that all this area here is going to be compacted with dirt. Um, so imagine that there's another foundation wall over here with footing, and inside of it, between both of them, are going to be filled with dirt, compacted, packed down then, packed down dirt. All right, right. So just to finish this one off, let's take this title, copy this title, put it over here, and change the name to foundation plan, same scale. All right, and yeah, I think that's it. Um, just one thing real quickly, if usually for these drawings, when you want to show some details, when you're doing your detailed drawings, you'll have to show what portion of the drawing that we're getting our details from. So for example, if I'm going to show a cross section of this strip foundation, I can draw a circle around it like so. Just like so, and this circle is going to say um, is going to match up. It's going to have a number, um, a letter and a number, a letter or a number. Like let's call it A1. And then when we do our sectional detail drawing cross section, the cross section would also be called A1. So when we look at A1 and we see that it's a cross section of a strip foundation, we can come to the foundation plan and see, oh, this is A1. This is where we are looking at. This is the part of the foundation that we are getting, that we're looking at to do the cross section or the detail drawing. But we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's just leave it like so. There's one quick thing that you should know. Another way how you can dimension um, the foundation plan is from the center of the foundation wall to the center of the foundation to the other foundation wall. So how that goes, you will have to make a center line. I'm just gonna offset it right now. So this is 200 millimeters, so I'm gonna get the center of it 100. So from this one to the middle, like so, and then this one to the middle, like so, and then I would make these center lines. I would create a layer, change the line type to center lines. A center line is represented by a long dash, a short dash, long dash, short dash. And then I would dimension, where is it? Okay. Then I would dimension from the center of the foundation wall to the center again of the foundation wall, like so. So this is just another way, and they would do it both ways, horizontally and vertically. They would show the dimensions that way in conjunction with other methods like the leader lines and so on, or maybe some external measurements. So that's another way that you can dimension. Remember, the principle is show all of the information that you think it's necessary um, for the builder to know exactly where to lay out the building, where to dig the trenches that these footings and foundation walls are going to be placed into. Once you do that, you should be good to go. All right, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe on the video if you want to receive more notifications about my new videos. Hit the bell notification button, and until the next video, Peace out for now.